Happy 2026. And in 2026, the Rays storylines matter more than ever.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Rays podcast. Locked On Rays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network, your team every day. And we are Kevin and Ulises.
And we are lifelong Rays fans who have been podcasting about the Tampa Bay Rays since 2019.
Later on today's show, the Rays must have some resolution to the stadium situation in 2026. In a few minutes, why the Rays must extend Junior Caminero at some point this season. But to start with the 2026 season looking bleak so far, let's just hope for some good individual storylines.
And we're going to talk about all of that thanks to FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Happy New Year, folks.
Yes.
Good to be 2026. And in 2026, well, the season for the Rays is looking rather bleak, which means that the Rays need compelling storylines to keep fans engaged, Kevin, because let's paint the picture, all right? With Eric Neander making a flurry of moves in November and December, he said on XM Radio a week ago that the Rays need to make tough decisions to make the team as competitive as possible as long as they can. Well, I know entering 2026, if you're incredibly optimistic, bordering on toxic positivity, it's very difficult to see this team as a playoff contender. Just given the AL East context of things. I mean, you know that the Red Sox have improved. The Orioles have certainly made moves to be better. The Blue Jays just gave us one of the best World Series that we have ever seen in a very tough Game 7 to lose. They are making moves. They just signed Dylan Cease. They signed Okamoto coming from the NPB. They're making moves. The Yankees, you know who the Yankees are. They always will do something because of the payroll. The Rays just really right now look like the odd man out in the AL East. So the Rays really need compelling storylines to keep us engaged, because right now, even if you are that toxic positivity person, it's very difficult to see that this team is going to be above 500 in 2026.
I would say it would be a miracle, and we should be doing golf claps and standing ovations if this team finds a way to win 80 games. Not even getting to 500. If they win 80 games this year with what the other teams are doing right now in the division, even if they finish last in the division, which is what everybody projects them to be at this point, you get to 80, 81 wins. That's pretty darn impressive with the hand that you've been dealt so far. And with that, it means that we really have to root for some of the individual storylines and success of really all players, but certain guys that we're keen in on. For example, we want to see certain things from Junior Caminero, from Chandler Simpson, from Shane McClanahan, and on it goes. That's really what we're rooting for at this point, is guys to take the next step or stay healthy, and prospects fostering into legitimate major league players. That's kind of what we're looking at this season.
Yeah, and it obviously, with it being January, you want to be as positive as possible about the upcoming season. No, everybody's on the same playing field right now, 0-0. But you just have to be a little bit more in depth with your analysis. And if you just look at the context of the division right now, it is very difficult to project anything better than in the 70 win range, like 70 to 79. So given that reality, give us good storylines like Junior improving that on-base percentage. That he has to be that guy. Hopefully he has some help within the lineup construction where he is not basically being walked without merit. But you want to see that play discipline come into effect in 2026, which we didn't really see in 2025. But again, he's 21, he's 22 now. Let's see that improve in a way that you can say, okay, well, that was a big step forward. He can really project to be a guy coming through in the next 5 to 10 years for the Rays.
Yeah, that's one guy. I mean, if we can see, an on-base percentage of 330, 340, and maybe that's being too optimistic, but at some point, getting to the point where he can take a walk and he's okay with taking a walk, because as dangerous as he is offensively, there's going to be a point where teams are going to say, we're just not going to pitch to you. So you've got to be willing to take a base at some point in time. And that starts with plate discipline and just being willing to take the walk, like Barry Bonds used to do back in the day. When he had that one opportunity to find a pitch that he liked, he did damage to it. So Junior is certainly one guy we're looking at. Chandler Simpson is another, I think, making strides defensively, be it in center or in the corner spots, I think would be huge. I mean, we know what Chandler Simpson can provide offensively. He's got great bat to ball skills. He can hit for average. We know he's going to steal a million bases. If he can just add the defensive component, he really could cement himself as a quasi everyday player and a guy that could stick around for several years. And then even going on down the list, Shane McClanahan. I mean, we're just hoping for, in whatever capacity he comes back in, that he just stays healthy. And we're not asking him to, you have to give us 130 to 160 innings pitched. I mean, that is it's over the top as of this recording. But if he comes back and he can just not go on the injured list, I think that would be a win.
Kevin, right now, if you give me a paper to sign that says Shane McClanahan will pitch 50 innings with a 6 ERA, but he does not show any signs of injury, I'll sign that right now. I just want to see Shane McClanahan not go on the IL. I don't care about the results for Shane McClanahan. And honestly, I don't think any Rays fans should after not pitching for 2 bleeping years.
Yes.
Just be healthy. Right now, that's the bare minimum. Just be healthy. Throw the ball. I don't care if you look like JP Howell of 2011. All right. Get hammered. I don't care. Just be healthy, because then now we can look at 2027 being like, okay, now we can really rev him up. And so, if it's 50 innings and poor results, I'll take that as long as there's no injury. And with the other two guys, the Junior with the on base and Chandler with the defensive improvement, they both have guys that they can look up to. Junior has Yandy right there, who he can learn from, another right-handed hitter who speaks his language, who hopefully he can learn a lot from in this year as well before Yandy gets shipped off because being too expensive. Right. And second of all, with Chandler Simpson, he's got Cedric Mullins.
Yes.
There to learn from, and Jake Fraley. So hopefully those are two guys that they can feed off from, and we can see those improvements that we hope to see in 2026.
Yeah, and of course, another resolution or issue that needs to be addressed is stadium. Do the Rays have a location? Do they have a plot of land that they can purchase? Can they work out an agreement with the county and or the city? That is something that we'll be discussing later on this episode, but hopefully we'll see some movement in that direction. And how cool would it be to see a new stadium with Shane McClanahan still on the roster, Junior Caminero still on the roster? That would be cool to see as well. So we have much more to talk about that as well going on in the episode and in the offseason.
Yeah, but besides raising all of those improvements from these players, raising money for Junior should be a priority for the Rays front office this offseason.
Well, Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame, a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern, they become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new: boosts, bonuses, surprises, and so much more. So before tip-off, be sure to check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA.
Thank you for making Locked On Rays your first listen every day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. And if you want to take it up a level for just $5, people, you can join the Everydayer Club, and you can get this podcast with no interruptions in a members-only Discord channel. Go to lockedonrays.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. Kevin Jr. and his extension needs to happen by year's end because you need to guarantee a face of the franchise for the new ballpark. We talk about it endlessly. Junior is the face of the franchise. Junior is the face of the franchise. Can you really be the face of the franchise if you don't have a contract extension for more than 8 years with the team? If
you're just on a rookie deal, not in arbitration yet.
Exactly. So I think there needs to be some finality to really making Junior Caminero the face of the franchise with the dollars backing it. Obviously, you have some impending Wander Franco stuff to still deal with. But when you look around the league, I pinpointed on the Royals with Bobby Witt. He signed an 11-year, $288 million deal with them a couple of years ago. So I'm thinking the Rays might be looking, if you're looking for a 10-year deal for Junior, between 250 and 300. And I say that because, first of all, inflation. Okay, that the market always goes up for players, so it would be a little bit more. And I'm saying that because I can recognize that Bobby Witt is a better overall player than Junior Caminero. I mean, the defensiveness alone gets him over the edge, but he also has that speed that Junior does not have. But given the age tips to Junior, I think the $250 to $300 million for 10 years does seem to be in the market value that would be respectable for Junior to sign. Do the Rays have that in the back pocket whilst they're also dealing with a stadium? Obviously, that's the biggest question and biggest thing to worry about. However, this needs to happen regardless because he's your face of the franchise. And if you need him to carry you through the new ballpark, this needs to get done.
It does. And the one thing, at least the one thing that Junior has above Bobby Witt, there's no argument that Bobby Witt's a better overall player as of now and probably ever, but he does have significantly more power than Junior Caminero. I don't know if I ever see Bobby Witt hitting 45 home runs in a season. Right. He'll hit 30, he'll hit 32, but you combine that with all the other skills that he has. Yeah, it's pretty easy to see why the Royals gave him an 11-year, $288 million deal. And here's the thing with the Wander contract extension situation. The longer you wait, the more expensive he's going to get. If you do it now versus on December 31st of 2026, there might be a difference of $50 to $75 million in that contract extension, assuming that he more or less replicates what he did this past season and or maybe builds off of it. I mean, maybe he doesn't hit as many home runs, but we see that on base percentage improve and we see fewer strikeouts and we see strides defensively. So I know there's a holdup with the Wander situation, and I know the Rays want to do their due diligence, but I think we've heard really nothing but good things about Junior Caminero as a player on the field, off the field, as a teammate, wanting to grow and learn and listen, something that Wander, it was kind of his way or the highway. It was all about him. And yeah, Junior has pizzazz to his game, but I don't think he's disliked in the clubhouse like Wander was disliked in the clubhouse. And I know that there's still, some issues with the finances there, but I feel like you got to find a way to get this done. And I know that the Rays have talked about, hey, the finances of our franchise haven't changed with the new ownership group. Sure. But I think, I know you do not have many contracts on the books.
Nope. You don't.
You should be able to afford one or more than one long-term contract extension, especially when you just jettisoned Pete Fairbanks and Brandon Lau and who knows who else. And Steven Matz isn't going to be here for long. Cedric Mullins isn't going to be here for long. Nope. There's going to be an opportunity to throw this money at Junior if that is their choosing.
And again, if you look at guaranteed salaries for 2027, so not even the season that hasn't been played, the next season, the only guy really that has money guaranteed is Steven Matz at 7.5 million, because Yandy, that's a club option. Okay. Cedric Mullins, that's a mutual option. Drew Rasmussen, that's a club option. And Taylor Walls, that's a club option. So really, it's Steven Matz at 7.5 who has a guarantee. Like, you have the money, the space to do it. Don't let anybody tell you that they don't have the money. They have the money. They have it. Now, will they do it? Will they pull the trigger? Because also, if you're Junior Caminero and you just had that season, maybe we're saying here very easily 250 and 300. But what if Junior's agent is telling him 350, 400? Maybe that's what he's if he's hearing that number, then 250. You spit at it. So it really depends on the economics of it from Junior side too, on whether you want to wait it out and just sacrifice your arbitration years for a little bit and then really get the payday.
And I know we're not pro athletes, but I don't know how you would turn down. We're offering you 250 guaranteed right now. You just look at a player like Shane McClanahan. He probably wishes he was offered, a $90 million guaranteed contract. Because
I bet
just
he would.
Don't know.
You just don't know. And again, with Junior, I think you have an ability there with him being so young at 22, bro, at 22, just being offered $250 million and saying like, hey, guess what? The 8th, 9th, and 10th year, you'll have some opt-outs. You can opt out. But even if you don't, you're going to be 32.
Yeah, you still have another contract left in you.
To at least get a contract over 100, and in 10 years, the inflation is going to go even up. So, like, you are guaranteed at least $100 million yourself contract if you are just the kind of guy that you just put up numbers like as a 21-year-old. You're supposed to get better. So it would be insane to think that he would say no to 250 or 300, but I mean, you never know with these situations, right?
Yeah. And I think it's Junior texting you right now saying, hey, they just haven't offered me $250 million yet. I will accept it.
How did you know? How did you know?
And maybe some of it too is like, hey, we don't want to figure out the Junior stuff until we have a stranglehold on the stadium deal. Once we have that, then we can maybe work on that. I don't know. Maybe that's their line of thing. Look, they got a lot of issues to figure out right now. So you've and I know it's different departments. You got baseball ops, and then you have different people that are dealing. Like Eric Neander's not necessarily dealing with Gene Castro and the politicians and
all. No. But Kevin, you've also said this too. Like you can walk and chew gum at the same time.
That's the idea.
I mean, you that's the idea, right? If you're only just depending on the stadium first, then nothing gets done. I would hope that this is also being looked at as diligently or as the stadium, because it is important to have a guy be the guy. Every team should has that guy. Like, I understand the Miami Marlins don't have that. I understand that the Colorado Rockies don't have that right now, but they did. Nolan Arenado was that guy. Well, they shipped him off. He was like Evan Longoria. And then they had Charlie Blackmon. Well, he was always a Colorado Rocky. Like, he even went for Chris Bryant. I don't know why.
Yeah, that was their guy. Yeah,
that was their guy. Like, you have to have that one bleeping guy. Junior Caminero is easily that guy for the Rays.
Right. And I mean, who's to say that the Marlins don't go out and give a contract extension to Marcy at some point or one of their other key young players? So, hey, they're spending money. They acquired Pete Fairbanks. Power to them for doing that. Now, finally, on this episode, as part of Rays Resolutions 2026, let's focus on one that will be even more expensive than a Junior Caminero contract extension. Thank you for listening to the Locked On Rays podcast and making us your first listen of the day. We appreciate it. We are, of course, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the hemisphere, in the world, in the land. Even aliens listen to the Locked On Podcast Network. And one thing that I think aliens want as well, in addition to Rays fans, is stadium finality. It needs to happen in 2026 for the Rays. The clock is ticking by the minute, by the hour, by the day, by the week, by the month. And the new ownership group says they're actively working on it 24/7. We just have to take them at their word. And we've seen some of the rumblings of that. I mean, they've gone as far as taken Tampa Mayor Jane Castor to Atlanta to see the Battery and Truist Ballpark and see what could be in the city of Tampa in Hillsborough County at some point. This new ownership group seem very suave with the local politicians and kind of rebuilding the relationships that the Sternberg organization kind of damaged over the last year or so. So it seemed, we haven't necessarily seen a lot of news in the last couple of weeks, probably because of the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's,
Right.
and all that. But I would think as we're nearing spring training, this is going to start to pick up at some point. And I would imagine, by the end of this year, there has to be some sort of agreement in place of we have the land, we have a public financing deal on the table with the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County, and we're ready to put shovels in the ground in late 2026 or early 2027, because we know you can't play at the Trop forever, and we know you can't keep going back to Steinbrenner Field.
No, time is of the essence here, folks, because the lease is up after the 2028 season. Remember, it's going to be extended one more year because of the 2025 season with the hurricane. So it was supposed to be 2027, now 2028. So 3 more full seasons already. That is very, very tight to have a new stadium for the 2029 season. So you're already very, very risking it with the timeline. So it needs to happen. It just has to happen. It must happen. Whatever verb you need to put here in the sentence for it to really kick in here, it needs to happen, Kev, because this whole moving to Steinbrenner Field, they obviously did not have it as a contingency plan that everybody liked.
No.
It's not going to be like, well, the 2029 season, we're going to go and play for Steinbrenner. Like it's very noticeable. They did not like that. If they need some more time, I would think they would be okay with Tropicana Field. But St. Pete folks are also going to be like, we need to do something with that area.
Yeah, the gas plant district.
We need to get it going there on that side too. So I am sure that there is a Rays 24/7 stadium team looking at this because it's that important. It's the most important thing for this organization. And I know some people, some dude who is a fan of the San Francisco Giants might not really understand why this is important. Right. But for Rays fans that live in the Tampa Bay area, they know that this is this is the number one storyline for this team. Yeah. We need to know where we're going to be playing because we just saw what happened in Steinbrenner Field. Mixed results. There were some positives, but there were certainly some negatives. How can you not have a sellout crowd of 10,000 people every day? That was not good. Maybe you can tell me, hey, look at the type of team that you're putting out there. That's fair, but even so, 10,000 people. You tell me it's so hot, which it was. We were there. We sweated our butts off, especially you, man. You went to a game, I think, one time with jeans on. What was that about? That was a bad choice.
Run cold,
bad choice. But like, man, get 10,046 people in there, right? I know it's hot. We were there. We were sweating our butts off, but you have to get 10,000 people there, man.
Yeah. And St. Petersburg isn't going to wait for you. I think they're actually trying to get proposals now for the crop redevelopment site. So that could play into the Rays' bargaining power if they're still kind of more or less playing both sides of, hey, we're talking to St. Petersburg and we're talking to Tampa. What can you all offer this? And if St. Petersburg, we don't really want to deal with you anymore, and city of Tampa, Hillsborough County is the only deal in town, then I feel like the public financing dollars may not be as fruitful as as they could be when you have multiple bidders on a major league team. Yeah. So, and really, again, the new stadium, it's the gateway. New stadium and redevelopment, it is the gateway to having a legitimate payroll and being able to keep some of your stars, more than one, and being a contender for the World Series and winning a World Series ultimately.
Right.
We look at how the Atlanta Braves were able to more or less transform their organization with the behemoth of the Battery and Truist Park, and it's done wonders for them. I mean, maybe not each and every single year, but they don't have to gut their roster and gut payroll to start over again, which is what the Rays pretty much are doing right now.
No, they don't. And again, when you put it that way, Kev, what did we talk about in segment 1 and segment 2? Segment 1, we're talking about, it's going to be a bleak outlook. Why? Because you can't get an Okamoto. You can't go get, the big free agent.
Yeah, you have a $69 million payroll right now.
We had people here talking about Kyle Tucker on the YouTube comments. We also talked about it, but obviously we knew that it wasn't going to happen. The Pete Alonso's there, that's not going to happen for the Rays, those big ticket items. If there's a stadium, we would have a different segment 1 for this episode. And then for the second episode, junior extension, oh man, can they really sign a 250? Can they really sign a 21-year-old that hits 45 bleeping home runs in one season? Could they actually do that? Yes. If they had a new ballpark, that wouldn't even be a segment. That'd be like, yes, it has already been done. So this would really transform the whole organization. That's why it is the most important storyline for this organization until it gets figured out. And hopefully it gets figured out by the end of this year.
And on that note, we hope you all have a wonderful day. Have a happy new year. And we will talk to you later this week.